South Korea proved that it doesn't depend on Son, but nobody noticed. Heartbreak to heroes. How South Korea stunned the world after falling behind. What if the player everyone was watching wasn't the reason his team won? Son Heung-min walked onto the World Cup pitch with the weight of an entire nation on his shoulders. The cameras were on him. The headlines were about him. And for 90 minutes, he barely touched the spotlight he was supposed to own. But South Korea didn't lose. They went down a goal. Their biggest star had one of the quietest games of his career. And yet, by the final whistle, it was South Korea celebrating a stunning 2-1 comeback victory. So how does a team win its opening World Cup match almost despite its best player? Stick around, because this story isn't about one man, it's about something much bigger. And by the end of this video, you'll understand why this match might be the most important sign of where South Korean football is headed. Before we dive in, if you're someone who loves digging into the real stories behind football's biggest moments, hit that subscribe button right now. Football Atlas breaks down matches, tactics, and turning points that the mainstream highlights never show you. Trust me, you don't want to miss what's coming in this video. Let's set the scene quickly. South Korea entered this World Cup with massive expectations. After their historic run in the previous tournament, reaching the round of 16 and giving the football world a glimpse of their potential, fans back home were dreaming big again. And at the center of those dreams, Son Heung-min, the Tottenham captain, the Asian Player of the Year, the man who carries Korean football's hopes on every international stage. Their opening opponent? A tough, disciplined Czech Republic side, known for their organized defense and dangerous counterattacks. Not flashy, not glamorous, but efficient, and exactly the kind of team that can punish a star-studded side that relies too much on individual brilliance. This was supposed to be Son's stage. It became something else entirely. Here's what actually happened in the opening minutes. The Czech Republic came out sharp. They pressed high, closed passing lanes, and disrupted South Korea's rhythm before it could even start. And then, early in the match, disaster struck. A defensive mix-up, a loose ball in a dangerous area, and the Czechs capitalized immediately, slotting home the opening goal, 1-0, just like that. The South Korean bench went quiet. The fans in the stadium and the millions watching back home felt that familiar sinking feeling. The one every football fan knows. Here we go again. And then their son, the man expected to be the difference maker, looked off. His touches weren't connecting. His usual explosive runs were being snuffed out before they even started. The Czech defenders had clearly done their homework, double-teaming him, cutting off his preferred angles, forcing him into uncomfortable positions. For a player of his caliber, it was uncharacteristically quiet. But here's the thing about football, and about this South Korean team specifically. When your superstar goes quiet, who steps up? That's where this story gets interesting. Because what happened next wasn't about one man carrying a team. It was about a team carrying itself, and in doing so, sending a message to the rest of the tournament. If you've ever wondered what separates teams that crumble under pressure from teams that fight back, what you're about to see is a textbook example. And it all started with one substitution-like shift in momentum that nobody saw coming. So here's how South Korea turned this match completely on its head. Despite going behind, the team didn't panic. The coaching staff stuck to the game plan, patient build-up, quick transitions, and trusting the players in midfield to control the tempo. And slowly, you could feel the momentum shifting. South Korea started winning more duels in midfield. Their wingers, not Son, but the players around him, began finding pockets of space that the Czech defense hadn't accounted for. The Czechs, who had started so brightly, began to tire from the pressure of holding their lead. And then it happened. A quick exchange of passes broke through the Czech midfield line. The ball was played wide, a cross whipped into the box, and South Korea found the equalizer. 1-1. The stadium erupted. You could feel the energy completely flip. The team that looked shaken just 20 minutes earlier now had belief surging through every player on the pitch. But they weren't done. As the match wore on, South Korea kept pushing. The Czech defense, so solid early on, started showing cracks under the relentless pressure. And in a moment of pure determination, South Korea found a way through again. A second goal, 2-1. And here's the incredible part. This wasn't a moment created by Son Heung-min's brilliance. This was a team effort. Players who had spent the entire match working tirelessly, covering ground, creating chances, and refusing to let their captain's quiet performance define the match. South Korea held on. The final whistle blew. Final score: South Korea 2, Czech Republic 1. A comeback win in their opening match without their biggest star performing at his usual world-class level. Now, here's where I want to hear from you. Drop a comment below. Do you think South Korea shows a deeper, more dangerous team than people expected? Or do you think they got a little lucky against a Czech side that simply ran out of gas? I'm genuinely curious what you think, because what happens next in this tournament might depend on which one of those is actually true. And hey, if you haven't already, smash that like button. It genuinely helps this channel grow, and it lets me know you want more breakdowns like this one. Now, here's my honest, slightly controversial take on all of this. I think this win, as exciting as it was, should actually worry South Korean fans a little bit. Why? Because their best player, arguably one of the best attackers in the entire tournament, had a quiet game, and they still needed a dramatic comeback to win. What happens when they face a team that's not just defensively solid, but also offensively dangerous? What happens when the opposition doesn't tire in the second half? What happens when Son is shut down and the supporting cast doesn't have one of their best collective performances? This match revealed two things at once. On one hand, it showed incredible team depth and resilience. South Korea proved they're not a one-man team, and that's genuinely impressive. Teams that rely too heavily on a single superstar often crumble the moment that player is neutralized. South Korea didn't crumble. They adapted, they fought, they won. But on the other hand, it also revealed a vulnerability. If their captain, their most dangerous attacking weapon, struggles against tactical defenses like this, that's a pattern that better opponents will study and try to replicate. Here's my prediction. I think we're going to see more teams in this tournament try the exact same approach the Czech Republic used. Load up defensively against Son, force the rest of the team to create chances, and hope that South Korea's depth isn't enough every single time. The question is, can South Korea keep finding answers like they did in this match? Or was this comeback a one-time spark of brilliance under pressure? Personally, I think this team has something special. There's a hunger here, a refusal to accept defeat that you can't coach. That mentality alone could carry them further than people expect. But mentality only gets you so far. At some point, Son needs to find his rhythm, because in knockout football, against elite opponents, South Korea might not get the luxury of a second-half comeback every time. So that's the story of South Korea's stunning opening day comeback, a win built not on individual brilliance, but on collective belief, resilience, and a refusal to give up, even when their biggest star couldn't find his footing. It's exactly the kind of story that makes World Cup football so unpredictable and so addictive to watch. If you enjoyed this breakdown, make sure you're subscribed to Football Atlas, because we're going to be covering every twist, turn, and shocking result throughout this entire tournament. Turn on notifications too, so you don't miss our next deep dive, because trust me, after a match like this, things are only going to get more interesting. Drop your predictions in the comments. Do you think South Korea can keep this momentum going? And do you think Son bounces back in the next match? Or does the pressure keep building? Thanks for watching Football Atlas. See you in the next one.